Let me quickly talk to you about your Navy Fed internal score, okay? Your Navy Federal credit score ranges from 100 to 450. So that gives you a delta of 350 points to play with, right, folks? So in this show, I am revealing how to grab as much of that delta as possible so you can be in the 400 plus score category. Don't go anywhere. You're going to love today's conversation. I guarantee it. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you were to ask me. If you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka, and let's roll. In today's conversation, I want to speak to you about the Navy Fed internal score. How do you actually boost it? And one thing you need to understand is that a Navy Fed internal score has 7 main components, and we are going to go from the least important to the most important. Number 1. They have a category called Other. So when you look at your Navy Fed internal score, in some cases, they might have a category called Other. So that category accounts for 5% of your Navy Fed internal score. So here they pay attention to your check systems records. So if you have had some banking problems in the past 3 months or 6 months, they pay attention to that, okay? They look at your profession. Actually, so when you apply for a loan or a credit card, you will put your profession, in some cases, on the application. And Navy Fed will actually archive that data. So they will pay attention to what kind of profession you have. Your age is important, okay? And you have, where do you live, your residence zip code. They pay attention to that also, and your household situation. What I'm trying to say here is that in the other category, they're not actually sort of tracking your private information, but they use it as part of your risk profile, okay? Obviously, if you are 18 or 21, your risk profile is different from a person who is age 50, right? If you have a FICO score of 500, your risk profile is different from someone who has a FICO score of 600. So the bottom line here is that Navy Fed actually archives in the other category bits of information that you have given the credit union over the years or over the month. They also pay attention to your marital situation, okay? And in some cases, they will pay attention to your gender. So the bottom line here is that part of your Navy Fed internal score, 5%, will actually hinge upon your information that is contained in the other category. The most damaging, in our view, in our research, the most damaging criterion here is your check systems record. If you have some kind of history with the banking industry that is really bad, and you have some kind of record, this could actually affect you. And this is not just when you apply for membership. Even as a member, Navy Fed continually will monitor your check system record to make sure that you are not only in good terms with them, but also with other financial institutions, okay? So this is really important. If you want to boost your Navy Fed internal score, please make sure that you have a clean banking history. Anything else, your age, your residence, your household situation, whatever, you can't really change that just to please Navy Fed. No, so just live your life, but pay attention to your banking history. The second criterion here is your relationship. So you want to boost your banking relationship with Navy Fed, and this accounts for 10%. So it's important, if you really want to boost your Navy Fed internal score, you want to actually ramp up your relationship with Navy Fed. When we're talking about relationship, what is that? This is what we call on this show your multi-product relationship with Navy Fed. You want to actually invest as much in Navy Fed so that they can invest in you. It has to be a win-win, folks, okay? So if you only have one checking account, probably trying to open another checking account. Maybe not for you, but maybe for the kids, okay? Or maybe for a relative, whatever. The thing here is that your goal is to park as much money with them so that they can actually see that, oh, okay, this person is actually making money. They have an interest in net worth to work with, and they will be working with you in terms of your credit card applications, your loan applications, and this will also boost your Navy Fed internal score, okay? Remember that the score goes from 100 to 450, and your goal is to be as close to the 400 plus category as possible. So when we talk about checking accounts at Navy Fed, you have free active duty checking. You have free easy checking. You have free campus checking. You have free everyday checking. You have flagship checking. So you have 5 options. Try to have at least 1 or 2. So that's for check-ins. You also have savings, okay? So they offer savings certificates. So you can actually increase cash by earning dividends. You can invest to build wealth. You can establish a college funds. You can build up retirement funds, okay? So the options are galore, okay? And you have certificates also. They have standard certificates. They have easy start certificate, special easy start certificate, save first account. This is important, folks, okay? They also have money market savings accounts. So here, you also have a constellation of products that you might be interested in, okay? So they have the money market savings accounts and they have the jumbo money market savings accounts. So, boss, what I'm telling you right now is that you need to ramp up your relationship with the Navy Fed. If you want to increase your internal score, don't just believe that this only has to do with a credit. No, it has to do with credit, but it also has to do with your relationship with a credit union. And they also have retirement savings options. This is kind of cool, especially if you're trying to really think about your old days and trying to really secure things on that end. So they offer traditional IRA and a Roth IRA, okay, and a Roth IRA. They also have retirement savings accounts. So what I'm trying to say here, they have a retirement certificate. So the bottom line is you have a lot of options, okay? So don't tell me that you only have 1 account with Navy Fed. If you want to boost your credit score, you better really increase the number of accounts you have with them. Did you hear that, boss? Okay. Now, the third criterion is your exposure. And your exposure to Navy Fed, or their exposure to you, accounts for 10%. So this is important. This accounts for 10% from your Navy Fed internal score. So what I'm trying to say here is that you want to reduce your exposure to them. In other words, you don't want them to see you as a high exposure, okay? Because Navy Fed will look at how many open debts you have with them. So when we talk about open debts, we are talking about credit cards, we're talking about business, we're talking about lines of credit, we're talking about loans, and we're talking about this at the personal level, but also at the business level, because everything is tracked at the social security number level, unless you have established your business lending arrangements on an EIN only basis. And boss, do not listen to people telling you that Navy Fed does not offer an EIN only borrowing options. They do. It's just that a lot of folks don't know how to apply it. A lot of folks just believe that Navy Fed, no, they do. It's all, when we talk about EIN only business lending, there is a process. There is preparation. There is stuff to do. This is the kind of hard work a lot of folks don't want to do. So they just sit around and just confuse people, telling them you can't do it with Navy Fed. You have to apply with your social security number, blah, 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 blah. No, you can apply with EIN only, but you got to do a lot of work, and folks do not want to do this. So if you have a strong NPR with Navy Fed, that means you keep most of your money with them, right? So what they will do is they will simulate your net worth based on the assets you currently have with them, and they will contrast that to your current liabilities, as well as how much you have in net worth. So they have something called balance sheet index. So your balance sheet index is linked to DTI and CUR. DTI is your debt to income, and CUR is your credit utilization ratio. So when you think about BSI, based on our analysis with Navy Fed, your BSI, your balance sheet index, is your total balance sheet ratio. In other words, they also call it internally at Navy Fed your liquidity coverage, and they actually think about your total assets divided by your total liabilities. Okay, so 50% minimum is good. That is for every dollar you borrow, you currently have 50 cents to cover it. Okay, remember the word currently. That is, you have the asset now, not later, not 3 months from now, not 2 years from now. No. So you got to understand that with Navy Fed, when they think about their exposure to you, there is a strong relationship between debt to income and balance sheet index. Okay, so it's really important. So if you have 50% BSI and or 30% DTI or less, you have a strong chance of being approved for multiple Navy Fed loans, and also boost your Navy Fed internal score. Okay, and this exposure accounts for 10% of your score. So this is really important. Now let's talk about hard pulls. So this is actually the number of inquiries on your credit bureau report. This accounts for 15%. So your goal here is, boss, Your goal is very simple. Don't try to complicate things. Your goal is to keep the number of inquiries in your credit report as low as possible. Did you get that? As low as possible. So don't just fool around just applying for credit cards, lines of credit, loans here and there, and not even thinking about the consequences. That's bad. Hey, that's bad. So you better stop it right now. You better stop that. So you better stop those foolish hard pulls that are just dinging your credit score for nothing. Okay, boss? Don't just apply to apply. You only apply for credit you need. Okay? This is not like shopping around. No, this ain't no shopping. Those pulls have consequences. Not only on your credit report, on your FICO score, they also have consequences on your Navy Fed internal score. Okay, so you want to plan ahead when shopping rates. So a proactive approach lets you shop rates on credit cards, on loans, on mortgages, and other types of loans in a short period of time to minimize the impact to your credit score. What I'm trying to tell you here is that you got to be strategic. Okay, it's really important, and don't try to complicate things. You want to check your credit reports regularly, because whether you check them or not, Navy Fed has a system in place to check your credit reports, and they take information in those reports to make up their internal score. Remember, it accounts for 15%. Okay, so the bottom line here is that you want to prioritize soft pull loans and credit cards systematically. Did you hear that, boss? I'm talking to you about systematically. Don't even think about it. Anytime you want to apply for a loan or you want to apply for a credit card, you want to go for those lenders that offer you things on a soft pull basis, so you can test the waters before actually committing. That way, you can actually keep your credit score high because you are reducing the number of inquiries. Okay, and by reducing the number of inquiries, guess what? You are bumping up not only your FICO score, but also your Navy Fed credit score, your Navy Fed internal score. So number of inquiries on your credit bureau report accounts for 15%. So that's the bottom line, okay? Bottom line is, do me a favor today. You want to stop applying just to apply. This ain't no game. This ain't no shopping mall, okay? The fifth criteria is the new accounts. So basically, Navy Fed has something called the ratio of accounts opened in the last 24 months to all accounts. So they compare the accounts opened in the last 2 years to all accounts. So they come up with a ratio here. So the bottom line here is what? You want to basically reduce how many accounts you opened in the last 2 years. Okay, this criterion accounts for 15%. So our goal here is very simple, boss. We want to reduce that number of accounts you open so that you can bump up your Navy Fed internal score. Okay, it's really important overall to say that the lower the number of accounts you open, the better it is for you, because you have a less. So the bottom line, when you have more accounts, when you have many accounts, you are basically just having a hard time. Why? Because you have to track many accounts, you have more monthly payments, you can end up paying more annual fees. We don't want that, right? There is a greater risk of credit card debts. Everybody understands that. It's harder to get approved for new credit, not only from Navy Fed, but also from other lenders. Okay? Your credit score will not improve. So here on this show, we are thinking about boosting your Navy Fed internal score and boosting also your FICO, because those things work hand in hand. So there is a strong correlation here, right? And you have to understand that the bottom line is that the more recent accounts you have, credit accounts that is, this is not really good for you. I mean, the more you have it, the more the less actually you will be likely to boost your Navy Fed internal score. And it may, in some cases, take longer to catch credit card fraud because you have so many accounts, nobody really keeps track of them. Okay, so the bottom line is, how many credit cards should you have? I mean, we have covered this question on another show. It really depends on your situation. Okay, the rate at which you open new accounts, it really depends on the situation. But be strategic. Okay, be strategic. Don't try to tell me you need 3 or 4 credit cards every 6 months. No, what's up with that? What's up with that? No, let's just stop wasting valuable currency, and the currency here is your internal Navy Fed internal score and your FICO score. Those points are really those FICO points, those score points are valuable currency because they do impact how much money you have to pay on a loan and a credit card in terms of APR and other fees. Okay, so it's important to understand that, and you have to also understand that the bottom line for you is if you plan things, if you have a budget, if you know exactly what kind of accounts you need, you're not going to open too many accounts in the last 2 years. So the ratio of accounts open in the last 2 years to all accounts, that criterion accounts for 15% of your Navy Fed internal score. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you were to ask me. I'm still talking to you about your Navy Fed internal score, okay? And number 6, we have here your utilization. So the utilization of revolving account credit lines in the last 3 months, Navy Fed actually takes this criterion very importantly because it accounts for 20%, okay? So the bottom line, boss, what I'm telling you to do right now is to keep your utilization as low as possible. This is important. There's no if, buts, whatever. No. Why are you wasting? I mean, the whole thing is, don't you have a strategy to keep your utilization ratio low? Obviously, this takes preparation, but you can do it. You can definitely do it, okay? It takes budgeting. It takes it takes what I call an analytical mindset to your finances. You have to think things through. Okay, this ain't no random game. No, this is actually a very strategic game where you really understand what is at stake. Okay, so when we talk about keeping your utilization of revolving account credit lines in the last 3 months low, we are talking about both NFCU and non-NFCU products. The bottom line is that Navy Fed they are taking into account your debts with them, but also other debts, okay? They're not making any segregation here. No, not at all. So you want to pay down. So there are a lot of things you can do to keep your utilization as low as possible. You pay down your balance early. And we have said this on the show. A lot of folks wait till the 28th of the month or the 30th of the month to make their payments on the credit card, whatever. No, you don't want to do that. The credit card issuer might tell you, hey, listen, we want you to pay us the minimum balance due on the 28th or the 30th. Okay. But you actually pay them multiple times during the month. You pay them 3 times or 4 times. You just have to schedule these things automatically so that your bank is making. So let's say the credit card wants you to pay $50 minimum on the 28th. What you do is you actually schedule 3 or 4 small payments of, let's say, $20. So if you have 4 $20 4 $20 payments rather, those will add up to $80, right? But this is kind of cool because $20 is less painful than $50 if you, depending on your budget, right? But you also reduce the amount of APR, the amount of interest you're paying, because the number of outstanding amounts is reduced. You want to decrease your spending. You want to pay off your credit card balances with a personal loan if possible. If you have a great offer, why not? Try to increase your credit limits. Open a new credit card, of course, if that makes sense for your budget. And do not close unused credit cards. On this show, our advice is always simple. Never close unused credit cards unless they are charging you some kind of crazy annual fee. Now let's talk about history. So if your credit experience accounts for 25% of your Navy Fed internal score. Okay, I'm talking about your credit history. Okay, so you want to increase your credit experience. If you want to boost your credit score with Navy Fed, there are a lot of things you can do. To increase your credit experience. First thing is get a secure credit card. Actually, you can even get a secure credit card from Navy Fed. Yeah. Because the bottom line is you're trying to do everything possible to increase your credit experience, right? Whether you are experienced, quote unquote experienced, or you are a newbie, you can always increase your credit experience because this will have a positive effect on your Navy Fed internal score. The second thing is get a credit builder product or a secure loan. Yeah. One thing you need to understand is that, and by the way, a credit builder loan is exactly what it sounds like. Okay. Don't try to think things very complicated here. No, the sole purpose of this credit builder loan is to help people build credit. That's what it is. And so this is kind of cool. And we have covered this on other shows. We have shown you rather the top 10 credit builder loans that you need. Some loans are offered by credit unions. Some are offered by banks. Some are offered by alternative lenders. It's all possible. For example, you have Self, you have SeedFi, a lot of them. And you can also use a cosigner, right? Your strategy is to increase your credit experience. So use a cosigner on a loan or a credit card. Everything is possible. You can become an authorized user. So you're basically actually getting experience by actually attaching your credit to somebody else's who's more experienced than you, okay? And get credit for the bills you pay. Yeah, why not? You have rent reporting agencies such as Rental Karma or Level Credit. They actually take a bill you're already paying anyway and put it on your credit report, helping to build a positive history of on-time payments, okay? And not every score takes these payments into account, but some do. And this is kind of cool. So and also you have Experience Boost. We have actually covered this topic on another show, but the bottom line is that if you want to increase your Navy Fed internal score, you need to increase your credit experience, okay? And you can also practice good credit habits, okay? Be financially responsible. What I'm trying to say here is that building a good credit score and a Navy Fed internal score takes time. It takes time. It takes a history of on-time payments. Okay, and so you want to practice a couple of good credit habits to build your score. Try to make your payments on time and pay at least the minimum if you can. If you use credit card, keep your credit utilization low. Avoid applying for multiple credit accounts close together, and keep credit card accounts open. Okay, and also check your credit reports and scores often. You never know. So you have a clear idea of what's on it because Navy Fed is going to check them anyway. They're going to check those credit reports anyway. So you better have a clear idea of what the Navy Fed is saying. All right, folks, this is it for today's conversation. So I was actually explaining to you how to increase your Navy Fed internal score, okay? How to go from 100 all the way to 400 and above. And basically there are 7 categories in your Navy Fed internal score. They have a category called Other that accounts for 5%. This is where they talk about everything else that is not related to your relationship with them. So they pay attention to your check systems accounts, and your relationship with Navy Fed accounts for 10%. So your MPR with them, how much money you have parked with them. Their exposure to you accounts for 10%. The number of inquiries on your credit report, it accounts for 15%. Those are the hard pulls. Number 5, new accounts. So the ratio of accounts open in the last 24 months to all accounts, this ratio accounts for 15%. And then you have actually your utilization. So the utilization of revolving account credit lines in the last 3 months, this accounts for 20%. And your history, if you have limited credit experience, this will account for 25% of your Navy Fed internal score. So by actually boosting some of those criteria, you can actually boost your Navy Fed internal score by more than 100 points. Thank you so much for your attention, folks. I really appreciate it. I'll speak to you another time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.